In an age when cars are packed with fragile electronics and planned obsolescence seems to rule, there was once a golden era when American cars were built like tanks. These machines weren't just modes of transportation, they were long-term investments. Owners passed them down to kids, and many are still running today with minimal fuss. These are 10 old American cars that were truly built to last forever.
Dear viewer, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for your support.
Number 10. When you think of American cars that quietly shaped everyday driving life, the Chevrolet Nova deserves a top spot. Produced from 1962 through 1979, the Nova wasn't flashy, it wasn't luxurious, and it certainly wasn't innovative. But it was simple, boxy, affordable, and reliable, qualities that made it a hit with both budget-minded families and young hot rodders who saw potential in its lightweight frame and strong engine options. Origins and purpose. Chevrolet introduced the Nova in 1962 as part of the Chevy 2 lineup, designed to battle the growing popularity of compact cars like the Ford Falcon. The idea was straightforward: offer a no-nonsense, inexpensive vehicle that could be built quickly and sold cheaply. It had none of the gimmicks or over-the-top styling of larger Chevrolets. Instead, the Nova was meant to be practical transportation with just enough flexibility to appeal to a wide range of buyers. Design and practicality. The Nova's styling was almost deliberately boxy and plain. It wasn't meant to wow people. It was meant to be economical. Its compact size made it easier to maneuver than the full-size Chevrolets of the era, but it still offered decent space for small families. Inside, the dashboard and controls were simple, easy to understand, and cheap to produce. The car was available in multiple body styles: two-door coupe, four-door sedan, convertible, and wagon, so buyers could pick what best suited their needs. That flexibility helped broaden its appeal. Engines and reliability. Under the hood, the Nova started out with rugged 4- and 6-cylinder engines, known for their durability. They weren't fast, but they got the job done. Over the years, though, Chevrolet expanded the lineup with V8 options, giving the Nova real performance potential. This is where the car took on a second life. Hot rodders loved it. The Nova was lightweight and relatively small, and when fitted with a big V8, it suddenly became a sleeper muscle car. A humble economy car could transform into a drag strip menace. That dual personality, family runabout by day, hot rod project by night, cemented the Nova's reputation. Why it worked? The Nova succeeded because it was cheap to buy, one of Chevy's most affordable models; easy to maintain, simple engineering with parts readily available; reliable, its engines could take serious mileage without complaint; versatile, good for families, commuters, and hobbyists alike. By the late 1960s, though, the Nova's age began to show. Styling became more bloated, competition grew stronger, and fuel economy concerns after the 1973 oil crisis made buyers shift towards smaller imports. Production ended in 1979, and in 1980, the car was replaced by the ill-fated front-wheel drive Chevy Citation. Even today, the Nova has a loyal following. Collectors appreciated simplicity. Hot rodders still swap V8s into them, and families remember them as trusty workhorses. It was never glamorous, but that was the point. The Chevrolet Nova was proof that sometimes basic and honest design makes the longest-lasting impact. So, in summary, the Chevrolet Nova, 1962 to 1979, was the everyman's car, boxy, tough, and dependable. It may not have turned heads when new, but it earned its reputation by being exactly what buyers needed, whether as a cheap family hauler or the foundation for a street machine. Number 9. The Dodge Dart holds a unique place in American automotive history. While not flashy, glamorous, or particularly innovative, it gained a reputation as one of the most dependable, long-lasting cars of its era. The secret wasn't advanced technology or luxury, it was sheer simplicity and durability, especially under the hood with Chrysler's legendary slant-six engine. The Dart name first appeared in 1960 as a full-size Dodge, meant to replace the Coronet. However, after Dodge reorganized its lineup, the Dart shifted into the compact/mid-size class by 1963, competing directly with the Ford Falcon, Chevrolet Nova, and later the Plymouth Valiant. By the mid-1960s, the Dart had become Dodge's compact offering, aimed at buyers who wanted an affordable, rugged, no-nonsense car that could be used for commuting, family hauling, or even taxi service. The Chrysler's Slant 6, available in 170, 198, and 225 cubic inch versions, was the Dart's beating heart. Introduced in 1960, this engine was tilted 30 degrees to one side, hence the name Slant. This allowed for a lower hood line, better carburetor placement, and longer intake runners, which improved torque and fuel distribution. Known for its bulletproof reliability, the Slant 6 could run under conditions that killed many other engines, neglected oil changes, overheating, or even running on bad fuel. Many Darts routinely pass 200,000 miles, with stories of taxis hitting 400,000 plus miles without major engine rebuilds. It wasn't uncommon for these engines to outlast the car's body, which was prone to rust in northern climates. The Dart's design was boxy, plain, and simple, but that was part of the appeal. It was easy to work on, with straightforward mechanical systems that any backyard mechanic could fix. Parts were cheap and widely available. Interiors were no frills, vinyl bent seats, basic dash layouts, and little ornamentation. But they were roomy and functional, which made the Dart attractive for families and fleets. The Dart was often considered the working man's car, affordable to buy, cheap to run, and dependable enough to use daily without worry. It was extremely popular among taxis, police departments, and government fleets, especially in the 1960s and early 70s. While not glamorous, it became a symbol of blue-collar dependability. While the Slant 6 was the most common engine, Dodge also offered V8 options: 273, 318, 340, and 360 cubic inches. The Dart 340 GTS and Dart Swinger 340 of the late 1960s turned the humble Dart into a surprise muscle car contender. Lightweight body plus small block V8 made for great performance. Despite this, the Dart was never primarily known as a performance car. It was more admired for its reliability and economy. Production ran through 1976 in the U.S., after which it was replaced by the Dodge Aspen and Valera twins. However, the Dart's global presence lasted much longer. In Mexico, the Dart lived into the 1980s. In South America, Chrysler kept Dart-based cars in production into the late 1970s. The Dart's platform was so versatile that it served as the basis for other Mopar cars like the Plymouth Valiant. Today, classic car enthusiasts still prize the Dart for its ease of ownership. Restoring or daily driving one is relatively simple compared to other cars from the same era. Unkillable engine. The Slant 6 was legendary for endurance. Affordable, low sticker price, and cheap upkeep made it accessible. Simple. No over-engineering, just basic, strong mechanics. Every man's car. It wasn't glamorous, but it was there when you needed it. Fleet-proven. Its widespread use in taxis and police departments cemented its reputation. The Dodge Dart, 1960 to 1976, wasn't about style, luxury, or excitement. It was about trust. It earned its place in history by being the car that just kept going, long after flashier cars had broken down. For many families and workers, the Dart wasn't just transportation, it was a reliable partner in daily life.
Number 8.
The Crown Victoria nameplate technically first appeared in 1955 as a trim level on the Ford Fairlane, where it referred to a stylish two-door coupe with a chrome band across the roof. But what most people know as the Crown Victoria didn't arrive until the late 1970s and 1980s, evolving from Ford's full-size LTD models. By the late 1990s, the Crown Victoria had cemented itself as the quintessential American full-size sedan. It was built on Ford's Panther platform, a body-on-frame design that dated back to the late 1970s. This construction, more like a pickup truck than a modern unibody car, gave the Crown Vic an incredible advantage. It could take abuse, absorb damage, and be repaired cheaply. Fleet managers, police departments, and taxi companies loved this because a hard front-end hit didn't mean the entire car was totaled. The frame could be straightened, and it was back on the road. The powertrain. At the heart of the Crown Vic's reputation was its engine. For most of its run, it used the Ford Modular 4.6L SOHC V8, introduced in the early 1990s. This wasn't a high-performance engine, with horsepower in the 190 to 250 HP range, depending on the year and trim, but it was bulletproof. With regular oil changes, these engines routinely saw 300,000 to 500,000 miles in fleet use. Paired with a 4-speed automatic transmission, the drivetrain wasn't flashy, but it was smooth, durable, and easy to service. Mechanics often said, "If you can't fix a Crown Vic, you shouldn't be working on cars." Police and taxi dominance. No discussion of the Crown Victoria is complete without mentioning its dominance in the police and taxi world. Police Interceptor, P71. Ford offered a special fleet-only version of the Crown Victoria known as the Police Interceptor. It featured stiffer suspension, heavy-duty cooling systems, beefed-up alternators, and reinforced seats for officers wearing gear belts. It became the default patrol car in North America from the 1990s through the 2000s. For decades, movies and TV shows always depicted police in Crown Victorias. They became a cultural symbol of law enforcement. Taxis. In cities like New York, Chicago, and Las Vegas, fleets of yellow Crown Victorias dominated the streets. Taxi companies prized them because they were spacious, comfortable for passengers, and, most importantly, cheap to keep running. It wasn't unusual to see Crown Victoria taxis with 400,000-plus miles still in service, their back seats worn to threads, but their engines humming along. Why it lasted so long? Body-on-frame durability, rare in passenger cars after the 1980s. This made repairs cheaper and extended service life. Simplicity, no complicated electronics, no fragile unibody car. Everything was designed for serviceability. Parts availability, because Ford built them for so long and in huge numbers, parts were everywhere and cheap. Comfortable ride. The suspension soaked up potholes, and rear-wheel drive gave predictable handling. Fleet dependability. Police, taxi, and government agencies all trusted them, keeping demand steady even as consumer tastes shifted towards SUVs. The end of the line. By the late 2008s, the Crown Victoria was an anachronism in the car world. It was old-fashioned, with a design that hadn't fundamentally changed in decades. Safety standards and emissions regulations were getting stricter, and consumers preferred SUVs and crossovers. 2011 marked the final year of production, built exclusively for fleets, no retail sales. Ford closed the St. Thomas assembly plant in Ontario, Canada, ending the Panther platform after 30 years. Its replacements, like the Ford Taurus Police Interceptor or Explorer-based cruisers, never quite captured the same reputation for durability. Legacy.
Today, the Ford Crown Victoria lives on as a cult classic among police departments, taxi nostalgists, and car enthusiasts who appreciate indestructible simplicity. You can still find ex-police Crown Victorias for cheap, often with 200,000 plus miles, and they'll keep going for years with minimal upkeep. It has become the last great American full-size, body-on-frame sedan, and in many ways, it symbolized an era of cars built to last, not to be replaced every few years. In short, the Ford Crown Victoria 1955 to 2011 wasn't flashy, fast, or luxurious, but it was one of the toughest, most dependable cars ever built, and it earned its place in history as the workhorse of America's street.
Number 7. When people talk about the cars that carried America through the lean post-war years, the Chevrolet Fleetline deserves a special place on the list. Produced between 1941 and 1952, the Fleetline was not glamorous, nor was it cutting-edge in technology. Instead, it was exactly what working-class America needed: rugged, affordable, easy to maintain, and built to last far longer than most of its competition. Origins and design. The Fleetline first appeared in 1941, just before the United States entered World War II. Its design was a bit more streamlined than the typical upright sedans of the late 1930s, featuring smooth, rounded lines and a distinctive fastback roofline on some models. These fastback sedans would later become icons of the 1940s look. But more important than styling was durability and simplicity. The Fleetline was built on Chevrolet's tried-and-true A-body platform, which had already proven itself sturdy and adaptable. This gave it both mechanical toughness and the ability to carry families, luggage, and cargo with ease. The heart, the Stove-Bolt Inline 6. The Fleetline was powered by Chevrolet's legendary Stove-Bolt Inline 6 engine, which had been introduced way back in 1929. By the 1940s, this engine had earned a reputation for being nearly indestructible. It was nicknamed the Stove-Bolt because its screws resembled those used in old wood stoves, but the name also reflected its utilitarian nature: simple, rugged, and not prone to failure. Key traits of the Stove-Bolt 6. Displacement, typically 216 cubic inches in the 1940s models, later upgraded to the 235 in the early 1950s. Power, not high by modern standards, around 90 to 105 horsepower, but enough for steady cruising. Longevity, engines routinely lasted well beyond 200,000 miles, when the average car of the time might need a rebuild by 80,000 miles. Ease of repair. Mechanics loved the Stove-Bolt because it was simple to work on, with parts that were widely available and interchangeable across multiple Chevrolet models. For taxi companies, farmers, and working families, this engine alone made the Fleetline an easy choice. Post-war demand. Like most automakers, Chevrolet stopped production during World War II to focus on building military vehicles. When civilian car production resumed in late 1945, there was massive pent-up demand. Returning soldiers and growing families wanted reliable cars, and the Fleetline fit the bill perfectly. It was affordable, it was built tough enough to handle daily driving, rough roads, and heavy use, and it came in body styles ranging from 2-door and 4-door sedans to fastback aero sedans, giving customers options depending on taste and budget. The Fleetline's popularity skyrocketed in the late 1940s. Dealerships often had waiting lists, and buyers were willing to take whatever trim or color was available. Fleetline in service. The Fleetline became especially beloved in the taxi industry. Taxi fleets needed cars that could take a beating. Endless stop-and-go traffic, long hours of operation, and heavy passenger loads. The Fleetline delivered, with many taxis racking up over 200,000 miles, and a few even pushing 300,000 miles with proper maintenance. For working families, it was equally valuable. It could haul groceries, kids, and supplies, and thanks to its straightforward mechanics, it could be kept running by just about any backyard mechanic. Many of these cars stayed on the road well into the 1960s, long after their production had ended. Styling evolution. While the mechanical foundation remains similar, the Fleetline did undergo stylistic changes. 1941 to 1942, rounded pre-war look with flowing fenders. 1946 to 1948, post-war continuation, often referred to as streamlined, with the popular fastback Aero sedan gaining traction. 1949 to 1952, more modern, slab-sided styling. The Fleetline's fastback roofline looked futuristic in 1949, but began to feel old-fashioned by the early 1950s. By 1952, buyers were shifting toward boxier, more modern cars, and Chevrolet dropped the Fleetline in favor of newer designs. Legacy. The Chevrolet Fleetline never pretended to be a luxury car or a performance car. Instead, it embodied durability and dependability. It was the kind of car that could survive a family's daily commute, then serve another decade as a farm runabout or a teenager's first car. Today's surviving Fleetlines are often sought after by hot rodders and restorers, who appreciate their simple engineering and distinctive fastback style. But back in its prime, its greatest achievement was simple. It gave ordinary Americans a car that refused to die. In short, the Chevrolet Fleetline 1941 to 1952 was not flashy, but it was one of the most reliable, long-lasting, and affordable cars of its era, making it beloved by families, taxi fleets, and working-class America during the post-war boom.
Number 6. When we look back at the American automotive scene of the 1930s, few cars earned the kind of reputation for dependability and practicality that the Plymouth Deluxe did. Produced from 1933 through 1942, the Deluxe was Plymouth's attempt to offer a car that was affordable, mechanically simple, and rugged enough for everyday life, especially for working-class families who couldn't afford frequent repairs. Origins and purpose. Plymouth was Chrysler's answer to the demand for cheap, reliable cars in the Great Depression era. The Deluxe was introduced as an upgraded trim of the standard Plymouth, offering slightly better interiors, finishes, and trim, but maintaining the same sturdy mechanical base. The goal was simple: give buyers a car that looked respectable without compromising the ruggedness and low cost that made Plymouths appealing. Mechanical heart. At the center of the Plymouth Deluxe's reputation was its inline-six engine. Early versions were 201 to 217 cubic inches in displacement, producing modest horsepower, but the focus wasn't on speed, it was on durability and ease of repair. Mechanics often praised the design for being simple, accessible, and nearly indestructible. A common saying at the time was, "A Plymouth will always start." These engines could run reliably in harsh conditions, poor quality fuel, minimal maintenance, and long commutes on rough roads. Many Plymouth Deluxe cars lasted well beyond 100,000 miles, an impressive figure for the era, and with basic upkeep, some cars surpassed 200,000 miles, which was exceptional for pre-war vehicles. The Chrysler engineering philosophy emphasized mechanical simplicity and overbuilt components, which is why these cars became so respected by mechanics and owners alike. Design and practicality. The Deluxe offered sedans, coupes, and convertible models, all featuring a traditional, upright, pre-war styling. While not as streamlined as some contemporaries, it was clean, elegant, and approachable. Interiors were modest but comfortable. Cloth seats, functional dashboards, and just enough trim to make the car feel solid and dependable without unnecessary luxury. The car was easy to maintain at home, a key factor during the Depression, when professional repairs could be expensive. Market impact. The Plymouth Deluxe became a favorite among working-class Americans. Its affordability and reliability meant families could rely on it for years without expensive repairs. Business owners and rural buyers appreciated it for light commercial work, often using sedans or coupes as delivery vehicles or multi-purpose transportation. Its reputation for starting reliably in all weather conditions made it especially popular in northern states with harsh winters. Competition. The Deluxe competed with cars like Ford V8 sedans, faster but often less durable over the long haul. Chevrolet standard models, similar durability, though the Plymouth six-cylinder had a slight edge in reliability.
Dodge vehicles sturdy but usually more expensive, making Plymouth the more accessible option. By holding its own against these rivals, the Deluxe earned a loyal customer base that would stick with Plymouth throughout the 1930s. Legacy. Production ended in 1942 due to World War II, as civilian car manufacturing was paused. The Plymouth Deluxe left a lasting impression as a reliable, no-nonsense car that could survive harsh conditions, long trips, and decades of use. Collectors today admire surviving examples for their solid construction and pre-war design aesthetics. But even then, it's the engine durability and mechanical simplicity that earns the most praise. The Plymouth Deluxe 1933 through 1942 wasn't flashy or fast, but it epitomized dependable American engineering. Its rugged inline-six engine, straightforward construction, and reputation for always starting made it a favorite among families, mechanics, and working-class Americans during the Depression era.
Number 5. When we talk about trucks that built America's farms, industries, and small businesses after World War II, the Ford F-Series stands at the top of the list. Introduced in 1948, the first-generation F-Series wasn't just a new truck, it was the start of a legacy that continues to this day. This generation was known as the bonus-built series, a name reflecting Ford's marketing for stronger, heavier-duty components and improved features over pre-war pickups. Prior to 1948, Ford's pickups were essentially modified cars, with light-duty frames and limited capabilities. Post-WW2 America demanded more rugged work vehicles. Farmers needed trucks that could carry heavier loads, business owners required reliable haulers, and roads in rural areas were often rough and unpaved. Ford responded with the F-Series, a purpose-built truck platform designed from the ground up to handle real work. The term bonus built referred to a set of structural and feature improvements over pre-war Fords. Stronger frame rails, thicker and more robust to handle heavier payloads. Improved suspension, leaf springs and shock absorbers designed for rough roads. Heavier axles, able to manage greater loads without bending. Better cab comfort. Ford recognized that drivers spent long hours in trucks, so the interior was more user-friendly than before. These improvements meant the F-Series could haul, tow, and endure abuse that would cripple lesser trucks. The first-generation F-Series offered a range of inline-six engines and a V8 option in later years. 226 cubic inch flathead 6, dependable, easy to maintain, and built for long life. 239 cubic inch flathead V8, optional, providing more power for heavier loads. Transmission was a 3-speed manual, simple and durable. Rear-wheel drive was standard, with a solid live axle and leaf spring setup. This made it ideal for towing trailers, hauling crops, or handling rough terrain. Farmers, ranchers, and small business owners quickly embraced the F-Series. Load capacity ranged from half-ton to 1-ton models, giving buyers options for both light and heavy-duty needs. Durability. These trucks were built to last. Stories abound of F1, F2, and F3 pickups running well over 200,000 miles with routine maintenance. Many still survive today, a testament to their design. Its simple mechanics meant repairs could be done almost anywhere. A local mechanic could rebuild the engine or transmission without specialized tools, which was critical in rural areas. While primarily utilitarian, the first-generation F-Series introduced sleek, modern styling for its time. Rounded fenders and cab inspired by Ford's post-war cars, integrated headlights, and a clean grille design. Optional two-tone paint schemes in later years. The trucks were functional first, but their design gave them a presence that made them stand out compared to other manufacturers' boxy, purely functional pickups. The first-generation F-Series set the template for decades of Ford trucks, durable, reliable, and versatile.
It demonstrated that a pickup could be both a workhorse and a comfortable vehicle, bridging the gap between farm and road. The F-Series would evolve into America's best-selling pickup line, but it all started with these bonus-built trucks, proving that Ford understood the needs of the working American better than anyone else at the time. The Ford F-Series, 1948 to 1952 bonus built, wasn't flashy, but it was rugged, dependable, and practical, earning the trust of farmers, small business owners, and tradesmen alike. It laid the foundation for the F-Series to become an American icon in durability and utility.
Number 4. When people think of the 1950s American car, the Chevrolet Bel Air often comes to mind. Introduced in 1953, the Bel Air wasn't just about chrome, glamour, and tail fins. It was a car that combined style with mechanical reliability, making it a favorite among families, commuters, and later collectors. Origins and purpose. Chevrolet introduced the Bel Air as the top trim of its full-size lineup above the 150 and 210 models. Its goal was to offer a stylish, modern car with strong performance and dependable mechanics at a price that middle-class families could afford. It represented the post-war optimism of the 1950s, flashy design, bright colors, and a sense of prosperity, while still maintaining Chevrolet's practical engineering values. Engines and mechanical reliability. The Bel Air was equipped with Chevrolet's inline-six engines and later the revolutionary small-block V8, introduced in 1955. Inline-six engines, 235 cubic-inch Blue Flame. Simple, durable, and nearly indestructible. Produced modest horsepower but excelled at longevity and low maintenance. Many cars ran well beyond 200,000 miles, a remarkable figure for the era. Small block V8, 265 cubic inch, later 283 cubic inch. Introduced for more spirited driving, giving the Bel Air respectable acceleration without sacrificing reliability. Its simple pushrod design made it easy to maintain and rebuild. Transmission options included 3-speed manual, column shift, and automatic power glide, all designed for durability. This combination of sturdy engines and simple drivetrains meant the Bel Air could handle decades of family use, from school runs to long road trips. Design evolution. The first-generation Bel Air, 1953 to 1954, introduced the hardtop coupe with a signature stainless steel trim along the sides. Its smooth, slab-sided body and chrome accents made it stand out in a market still dominated by pre-war designs. By 1955 to 1957, Chevrolet modernized the styling. Sleeker bodies, more pronounced tail fins, and dual headlamps in 1957. Two-tone paint schemes became popular, accentuating the car's lines. Interiors were upgraded, with better upholstery, wider seats, and more luxurious dashboard designs. Despite the focus on style, the Bel Air never sacrificed durability. Every body panel, frame component, and suspension part was engineered to last, which helped the car remain in service for decades. Cultural and practical impact. The Bel Air became synonymous with the 1950s American dream: stylish, reliable, and attainable. Families loved it because it was spacious, comfortable, and mechanically simple, meaning it could be serviced by local mechanics rather than expensive dealerships. It was also adaptable for commercial use, such as taxis or light delivery vehicles, thanks to its strong engines and robust chassis. Many Bel Airs remained in service into the 1960s and 1970s, showcasing longevity rarely seen in other full-size cars of the period. Collector and hot rod legacy. Today, the 1953 to 1957 Bel Air is highly sought after by collectors and hot rodders. Its mechanical simplicity, reliable engines, and classic design make it ideal for restoration or modification. Even as a showpiece, the Bel Air's design and engineering still impress, demonstrating the careful balance Chevrolet struck between form and function. Key takeaways. Reliable engines. Inline sixes and small block V8s gave the Bel Air longevity unmatched by many competitors. Durable construction. The chassis, suspension, and body were built to survive decades of family use. Style and practicality. Flashy chrome and tail fins did not compromise its core role as a dependable, everyday car. Cultural icon. Became the symbol of 1950s prosperity while remaining mechanically sensible. Collector appeal. Longevity and classic design make it a favorite for restorers and enthusiasts today. In summary, the Chevrolet Bel Air 1953 to 1957 wasn't just a stylish symbol of 1950s America. It was a durable, reliable, and long-lasting car that served families, businesses, and enthusiasts for decades. Its combination of rugged engines, solid construction, and timeless design cemented its place in automotive history.
Number 3. In the landscape of post-war American cars, the AMC Rambler American stands out as a practical, no-nonsense vehicle that emphasized economy, durability, and simplicity. Produced by American Motors Corporation, AMC, between 1958 and 1969, the Rambler American was not flashy or luxurious, but it earned a loyal following among budget-conscious buyers and small families. Origins and purpose. The Rambler American was AMC's answer to the growing demand for compact, affordable cars in the late 1950s. At a time when most American manufacturers were focused on big, flashy, and chrome-laden cars, AMC targeted buyers who wanted a car that was economical to buy, fuel-efficient, and mechanically reliable. The Rambler's philosophy was simple: build a small, tough, and easy-to-maintain car that would last for years, appealing to working-class families, first-time buyers, and fleet customers. Mechanical reliability. Engines. The Rambler American used inline-six engines with modest displacement and horsepower. These engines were not designed for speed, but they were sturdy, dependable, and simple to maintain. Transmission. Most cars came with a 3-speed manual, with optional automatic transmissions in later years. These were straightforward designs, easy to repair if needed. Durability. Many Rambler Americans remained on the road well past 200,000 miles, far surpassing the typical lifespan of cars from the Big Three. Their rugged chassis, straightforward suspension, and overbuilt components made them highly resilient. Maintenance. The simplicity of the engineering meant that local mechanics could easily perform repairs, reducing downtime and keeping costs low for owners. Design and practicality. The Rambler American was compact and boxy, prioritizing interior space efficiency over style. Body styles. It was offered as a 2-door sedan, 4-door sedan, station wagon, and later as a convertible, giving buyers versatility. Economical dimensions. Smaller than the standard American full-size cars, it was easier to maneuver, park, and operate in urban areas while still offering enough room for families. Fuel economy. Lightweight construction and modest engines meant that the Rambler was significantly more fuel efficient than full-size sedans, a major selling point during an era of rising gas prices and city congestion. Market position and impact. The Rambler American carved out a niche in the compact car market, a segment that was largely ignored by Detroit's Big Three until the 1960s. Its low price, reliability, and economy made it a favorite among young families seeking an affordable first car, fleet buyers, including small businesses, taxi services, and government agencies, commuters who needed a car that wouldn't break the bank in maintenance or fuel. AMC marketed the Rambler as a smart buy, a car that offered practical value over flash, which resonated strongly with sensible buyers. Cultural and long-term legacy. While not as glamorous as Chevrolet or Ford offerings of the era, the Rambler American earned respect for longevity and durability. Many survived well into the 1970s, despite AMC's financial struggles and eventual absorption by Chrysler. The car's simple design and mechanical reliability made it a collector's item for enthusiasts of compact classics and early American economy cars. It also laid the groundwork for AMC's later innovations in compact and economical cars, influencing models like the Hornet and Gremlin. Key takeaways: reliable and simple. The Rambler American was mechanically straightforward and durable. Economical. Low purchase price, good fuel economy, and minimal maintenance costs. Practical. Compact, yet spacious enough for families, adaptable for fleets. Longevity. Many vehicles stayed on the road long after AMC's heyday. Legacy. Paved the way for future compact American cars and remains respected among collectors for practicality and durability. In summary, the AMC Rambler American 1958 to 1969 may not have been flashy, fast, or luxurious, but it excelled at doing exactly what it was designed for, providing a simple, economical, and durable vehicle for everyday Americans. Its reliability kept it on the road long after many contemporaries had faded, cementing its place in automotive history as one of the most practical and long-lasting American cars of its era.
Number 2. During the 1960s and 1970s, American families who wanted space, comfort, and durability often turned to the Buick LeSabre. Positioned as a full-size, luxury-oriented yet accessible car, the LeSabre combined massive V8 engines, solid construction, and long-term reliability, earning a reputation as a true forever car for suburban America. Origins and purpose. Buick introduced the LeSabre in the 1959 model year as a replacement for the previous Century series. The car was designed to offer a premium driving experience without the extreme cost of top-tier Buicks or Cadillacs, making it a practical choice for well-off families. With post-war suburban expansion in full swing, the LeSabre appealed to buyers who needed roomy transportation, smooth rides, and reliable engineering. Mechanical features and durability. Engines. Equipped with big block V8 engines, often ranging from 350 to 455 cubic inches in later years. Known for torque-heavy, smooth performance, these engines were durable and rarely prone to catastrophic failure if maintained properly. Transmission. Most LeSabres featured automatic transmissions, turbo-hydromatic, by the mid-1960s, making driving effortless in urban and suburban environments. Chassis and suspension. Body-on-frame construction contributed to a solid, long-lasting platform. Soft-riding coil springs and heavy-duty shocks ensured smooth, comfortable rides over rough roads. Reliability. Owners frequently reported 200,000 miles of trouble-free operation, a remarkable feat for large, powerful cars of the era. Maintenance. While big engines meant higher fuel consumption, mechanical simplicity and wide availability of parts made upkeep relatively straightforward. Design and features. Styling. The LeSabre evolved from classic 1960s tail fins to more restrained, elegant lines in the 1970s, with sweeping chrome trim, wide grilles, and full-size proportions. Interior comfort. Spacious bench seats front and rear, often upholstered in durable vinyl or cloth. Optional features included power windows, power seats, air conditioning, and tilt steering columns, emphasizing comfort and convenience. Safety and practicality. Large size provided a sense of security and stability. Heavy frame and substantial crumple zones, for the era, contributed to crash durability, making it popular among families. Cultural impact. The LeSabre became a symbol of suburban prosperity, dependable, stylish, and roomy enough for weekend trips, family vacations, and daily commuting. Its reliability and comfort made it a staple of American households, often lasting decades with regular care. It was frequently chosen by buyers who wanted luxury without Cadillac-level expense, providing a taste of premium ownership in a manageable package. Legacy. Many LeSabres remained on the road well into the 1970s, 1980s, and even early 1990s, a testament to their long-lasting engineering. The car is remembered fondly by collectors and enthusiasts today as a classic example of American full-size comfort and dependability. Its blend of rugged construction, massive engines, and smooth ride cemented its reputation as a forever car, one of the most dependable Buicks ever produced. Key takeaways: massive V8s provided effortless performance and longevity. Solid construction, body-on-frame durability allowed decades of use. Comfort and convenience, spacious interiors and smooth suspensions made it ideal for suburban families. Dependability, many cars exceeded 200,000 miles, earning the Forever Car label. Cultural icon, represented suburban success without Cadillac-level expense, embodying the American dream of the 1960s and 1970s. In summary, the Buick LeSabre, 1960s to 1970s, was a reliable, comfortable, and powerful full-size car. With its rugged V8 engines, solid construction, and spacious interiors, it became a favorite of suburban families who wanted a vehicle they could depend on for decades, a true forever car of its era.
Number 1. The Ford Model T is one of the most significant vehicles in automotive history. Introduced in 1908 by the Ford Motor Company, it wasn't just a car. It was a revolution in mobility, making personal transportation affordable, practical, and durable for ordinary Americans. Origins and purpose. Henry Ford's vision was to produce a car for the masses, not just the wealthy. At a time when most cars were handcrafted, expensive, and unreliable, the Model T offered affordability. Early models sold for around $850, and prices steadily dropped to as low as $260 by the 1920s. Simplicity. Designed so anyone could understand, maintain, and repair it. Durability. A car that could handle America's unpaved roads and harsh rural conditions. Mechanical features and reliability. Engine. Powered by a 2.9-liter flathead inline-4 engine producing about 20 horsepower. Not fast, but extremely reliable and forgiving. It could run on gasoline, kerosene, or ethanol mixtures. Transmission. Unique planetary gear transmission with 2 forward speeds and 1 reverse. Simple operation after some initial learning, and mechanics could fix it with basic tools. Chassis and suspension. High ground clearance and sturdy leaf spring suspension allowed the Model T to tackle dirt roads, fields, and rural terrain. Lightweight yet strong frame made it hard to destroy in normal use. Maintenance and longevity. The car's simplicity meant that farmers, tinkerers, and mechanics could repair it themselves. Many Model Ts ran for hundreds of thousands of miles, with routine oil changes, lubrication, and minor adjustments. Design and practicality. Body styles. Initially sold as a runabout, later expanded to touring cars, sedans, and trucks. Materials. Mostly steel chassis with wood-framed bodies, making repairs inexpensive and parts widely available. Functionality. Simple open design for versatility and ease of access. Minimalist controls allowed anyone to learn driving without extensive training. Large wheels and narrow tires suited both paved and unpaved roads. Cultural and economic impact. The Model T democratized car ownership, putting America on wheels. Farmers loved it for its durability and adaptability. It could carry passengers, livestock, or crops. Mechanics and hobbyists found it easy to modify, maintain, and improve, creating a culture of innovation and customization. Ford's introduction of the moving assembly line in 1913 drastically cut production costs, making the car affordable for the average worker and fueling the growth of suburban and rural mobility. Legacy. The Model T's impact extends beyond mechanics. It transforms society, infrastructure, and the economy. Roads improved as car ownership spread. Automotive culture was born. Families, entrepreneurs, and enthusiasts built communities around cars. Its simplicity, durability, and serviceability allowed it to remain operational for decades, often passed down through generations.
Today, the Model T is celebrated as a symbol of early American ingenuity, resilience, and accessibility, influencing every car that came after it. Key takeaways: durable and simple, built to last on rough roads and withstand daily use. Repairable by anyone, flathead engine and basic mechanics made self-repair possible. Affordable, lowered the barrier to car ownership for millions of Americans. Versatile, adapted for families, farms, businesses, and transportation of goods. Cultural icon, transformed America by putting wheels under ordinary people, shaping automotive history forever. In summary, the Ford Model T, 1908 to 1927, was not just a car. It was a revolutionary machine that made transportation accessible to the masses. Its simple, durable design, combined with easy repairability, made it nearly impossible to kill and allowed it to run for generations, earning its place as one of the most influential vehicles in history.